Welcome, everybody, to the X Factor podcast. This is episode number 20, I think, maybe, somewhere around there. If you're really into Roman numerals, I think that would be double X. Wait till you hear the triple X podcast in a few weeks. That'll be really crazy. So we are the X Factor podcast. That is my esteemed colleague right over there, JR, also known as Jon Rennie, or as he prefers you, the unwashed masses, to refer to him as His Royal Highness.
Yes, my preferred pronoun.
My preferred pronoun is he, haw.
Perfect.
I would be remiss if I did not tell you that the X Factor podcast is brought to you by our friends at Bottom Gun Coffee. Bottom Gun Coffee is a veteran-owned company by a submariner, not a submariner. That's totally different. A submariner.
Correct. Submariner.
Veteran-owned company that makes the world's greatest, most kick-ass blend of coffee.
Yes.
It will make you more energetic than the Energizer Bunny. It will make you more it will make you work faster than Usain Bolt runs. I mean, if you drink enough of it, you might run like Usain Bolt. It combines the flavor profile and rich aroma of the finest mahogany wood and the most delicious food ever. So think about something that just smells so good.
So good.
And something that just tastes better than anything.
Yep.
That's basically what it is. And you don't need to add cream, sugar, Irish whiskey.
Well, maybe.
That's always a bonus. Yeah, only on Monday mornings at work. Yeah. But my point being, it speaks for itself. It's strong. It's bold. It don't need no training wheels like cream and sugar.
Yep.
And it certainly doesn't need flavored syrup. You're not going to order it as venti, tall, skinny, half calf, no whip, soy, latte. Like, no. You're just going to get Bottom Gun coffee, stick it in your coffee maker, and pour it in a mug. Preferably a mug that you haven't washed since the Reagan administration. That is how coffee is best served. Is it not, John? Explain
100%.
the rationale behind that.
100%. You ask any Navy chief and they'll tell you the best way to drink coffee is from a mug that hasn't been washed since the Reagan administration. That's exactly what they'll say. 100%. And the thing is, with a coffee called Ahab's Revenge, you're going to put cream in that? You're going to put some soy latte crap in there? No, you drink it straight like a man. And you get hair. Well, you can feel the hair growing on your chest when you drink it.
Ladies, you can feel the hair growing on your chest too if you drink Bottom Gun coffee. Yeah, I mean, I think Nair was invented because of Bottom Gun coffee and what it does to help grow your chest hair.
Wonderful.
BottomGunCoffee.com.
Yeah. In fact, I think Coach Brew, you were cleanly shaven yesterday. This morning you had some Bottom Gun coffee, and now you've got a full beard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm borderline. I almost look like an unemployed Civil War general. My beard's so long.
It is.
So
like you could have a grizzly bear for a best friend.
I have an X Factor beard. Speaking of X Factor, Jon Rennie.
Yes, Coach Brew.
Today we're doing X Factor sports franchises.
Yes, let's go.
LFG,
let's go.
So, pretty sure I went first last time.
Oh, so you did.
I think it's your turn to introduce the subject matter at hand.
Yes.
And talk about whatever it is on your mind. This is an opportunity for you to share your feelings with our audience, to get in touch with your inner child and break new emotional ground.
I'm an engineer. I haven't broke emotional ground yet, so this would be the first. So no, I'm not going to break any emotional ground, but we're going to talk about X Factor franchises, sports franchises in particular. And I'm going to talk about a sports franchise that, and everybody will think they'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I bring up this team, because they all want to think they know everything about this team. But I'm going to tell you about something about this team you didn't know, and that's the New England Patriots. Anybody heard of the New England Patriots? Tom Brady, maybe?
I've certainly heard of Tom Brady.
Sure. So everybody
thinks he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Who are these England?
So everybody thinks
people that you're referring to.
Yeah, so everybody thinks that the Patriots, began the day that Tom Brady was hired and became the starting quarterback. The truth of the matter is, there's a little more history there. And I am a New England Patriots fan. I grew up in New England, in Manchester, New Hampshire. I was a New England Patriots fan from birth.
Manchester.
In Manchester. Wicked Pissa. And back then, the Boston Red Sox were our life. The Bruins, Celtics, and the Patriots. And Patriots were one of the later teams founded. They founded in 1960 as the Boston Patriots. I mean, how awesome a name is the Boston Patriots, right? I wish they had kept that name.
That makes me want to go freaking dump a case of tea in a harbor.
It doesn't it? It makes you want to just like shotgun a Sam Adams and
get on my horse and let everyone know the British are coming.
Exactly. Or at least they're breathing hard. So I would like to talk about the Patriots in terms of
I can't believe you just went there. Oh my God. Wow.
So we're going to talk about the New England Patriots, but specifically, I want to talk about an ownership change, and that created an X factor. That's what I want to talk about. There's a guy named Robert Kraft who got himself.
Speaking of coming and breathing hard,
Robert Kraft might have got himself
massage parlors in Florida. But go ahead.
He might have got himself in a little bit of trouble with somebody, but anyways, it happens, right? But I want to tell you, there is a story between the pre-Kraft Patriots and the post-Kraft Patriots. And that's what I want to talk about. Because everybody thinks the Patriots, it's Bill Belichick, it's Tom Brady. Who is it? Is it Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? Well, I think we learned that it was Tom Brady probably. But anyways, there was someone even before, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and that was Robert Kraft. He bought the team. It's kind of interesting. The team was owned by another gentleman, James Orthwine, and he was an owner. He only owned the company, or only owned the team for 2 years, and he wanted to move out of New England. He wanted to go to St. Louis. And Robert Kraft actually owned the property where the stadium was. He was actually the landlord. And James came to him. Landlubber. Yeah, just what sailor talk.
Aye.
So he wanted to get out of this. He wanted to get out of his contract with Robert Kraft, who owned the property. And so he said, I'll give you $75 million if you let me move the team to St. Louis. And Kraft said, no. And not only no, I'm going to buy it from you. He bought the team away from him in 1994. He became the owner. And it was a record dollar amount ever paid for an NFL franchise at the time, $175 million in 1994, which that's a lot of money back then, but it really, if you think about it now, that's a pretty good deal for a franchise.
Parker, find out what $175 million in 1974 would be in 2021. You should be able to Google that.
Will do. See, and the thing is with Robert Kraft, he did not want, he was from Massachusetts. He didn't want the Patriots to leave. He was willing to put his money where his mouth was. And he was to keep that team in the New England area, number one. And the second thing is he was a fan. He had season tickets. Yeah. He was in the stadium for every game, even though they sucked. He was there every game. And I was there a lot too, because they sucked and they would black out on TV. So we would actually go to the games and sit in the nosebleed seats on, aluminum bench seats in the freezing cold, watching our team lose. We were terrible back then, but yet Kraft saw something in this team, and he saw what it could be. And so he was willing to put his money where his mouth was. He bought the team, brought it to New England, and and he made all the difference. So the team was around from 1960 to 1994, that 35 years at the beginning of that franchise. They had 3 AFC East titles. They had 1 AFC championship, and they had 1 Super Bowl appearance. And that was the 85-86 season when the Patriots went up against the Chicago Bears, and they lost brutally. They got destroyed. And that was one of the saddest days of my life, that Super Bowl. But then after 1994, get this, with Robert Kraft in charge and leading the company that is the New England Patriots, in the 26 years that he's led the company, 19 AFC East titles, 10 AFC championships, 10 Super Bowl appearances, and 6 Super Bowl wins. It's night and day. And the difference was an owner. The difference was leadership. And the difference was somebody who cared about football, who was a fan of the sport, and he wanted to see the Patriots as a winning franchise, which, as a fan, it's exciting to watch, but also as an owner, he made a lot of money doing it. Now it's one of the most valuable franchises in the world of sports right now. And it's because he took a losing business, a losing franchise, he kept it in the New England area, and he created this amazing, basically company and franchise. And it wasn't, eventually he did get Bill Belichick. Eventually Tom Brady came on board, but there was, before that, it was, Bill Parcells. And before that, it was, Drew Bledsoe. And we he went to Super Bowl in 96. 2 years after he bought the team, we went to another Super Bowl. We lost again to the Green Bay Packers, but with Drew Bledsoe as quarterback, but at least he got there in 2 years after that. And that began the winning ways. And eventually Tom Brady, eventually Bill Belichick, eventually, history is told. But I've been around since the beginning, not maybe quite 1960, but certainly 7 years after that. I've been a fan my whole life. And so people say, oh yeah, you're just a, what do they call that when you jump on a bandwagon fan? No. Yep. I've been here before Robert Kraft was the owner. So, and I've seen how bad we were. And you know what? It just fit. New England sports were terrible back then, as far as, we had the story franchise of the Celtics and the Bruins, but the Red Sox just never made it, right? They always just fell on their faces. And so this was, for us, at least,
there's never a Boston team that the Celtics could be proud of.
Right, exactly.
And now finally the Celtics can be proud of the other teams in town.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it became, after 1994, it became something to root for, and it became fun to be a fan. And then eventually people hated us, which was kind of funny. We went from being losers to people hating us. So
you're the NFL equivalent of Duke basketball. Everybody hates them. If they're not a fan, they hate them.
Exactly. But I think the whole difference was in 1994 when Kraft bought the team, and he set it in a whole different direction. And to me, that's X factor, right? It's taking a losing franchise or a losing company or a losing product and making it X factor. And I think he did that.
So much X factor is betting on yourself, which is really what he did.
100%.
One guy with a vision. A vision. He was fed up with mediocrity and refused to allow the team to leave town, so he bought it.
Yeah, I love it. I just think it's a great story. And
Parker, do you have those numbers for us?
Yeah.
What do you got?
So $172 million in 1994 is worth $303,590,000 today.
Wow.
I'm surprised that number isn't higher.
Yeah. Well, I also calculated for so say if it was like 1990, it is, it doesn't really jump up until you get into like the 70s, which is kind of weird. So like 1990, it just goes to 344 million. But if you go like 1970, say it's like 1974, this is what blows my mind, is it goes from 172 million in 1974 to $912 million today.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy. But still $200 million plus dollars today from when he first purchased it, which is wild.
Yeah, it's this is a guy that knows how to make money, and he knows return on investment, because you just look at Robert Kraft is basically he's a brand unto himself. He's in the paper and packaging business, sports and entertainment, real estate development, hedge fund.
He's in everything.
Charity, everything. It is amazing. He owns Gillette Stadium, Patriot Place, the Patriots. He owns a Major League Soccer team, which is what, the New England Revolution.
Yep, the Revolution. Yep.
And
it's interesting too that the area where the stadium is, like, used to be the old Sullivan Stadium. We used to go there, and it was basically a dirt parking lot and the stadium, and it was like cold, snowy, windy, nothing there. It was like this. There was one hotel. It was called the End Zone Hotel. That was down the street, like 2 miles down the street. There was nothing else there. Now you go there, it's a destination. It is like, it's a mall. He's created like this outdoor mall with the Patriots place and all the shopping, a Bass Pro Shop. Everything is right there.
Everybody told him that would be a colossal failure and not to do it too.
Yeah. And now it's a destination. He's created a destination because he knows that, look, they're only going to playing, I don't know how many home games they play every year, 10, not even that maybe. But how am I going to utilize this giant piece of property I have? Well, I'm going to put a mall here. I'm going to have a soccer team play here. I'm going to have lacrosse tournaments here played here. So he's
concerts.
Concerts. So he's utilizing his property to make money. I mean, and he's created an enterprise out of this idea of kind of reviving a sports franchise that was never alive. I mean, bringing it to life, essentially.
And John, you'll love this. According to Forbes,
yes,
the Kraft Group, which is owned by Robert Kraft and his kids, ranks in the top 90 of America's largest privately owned businesses.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
So it's Robert, Jonathan, Daniel, and Josh Kraft.
Yep.
It's just a guy who knows how to win. I wouldn't say like Midas touch, but maybe you could say that because, everything they've done is successful.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts with a vision, like you said.
Yeah. So I just think there's a story between the post-Kraft Patriots and the pre-Kraft Patriots and the post-Kraft Patriots is the amazing story about that franchise. And it's a story of leaders, a story of business leaders. You can take over a losing business and turn it into a winning business. And it's just about leadership, passion, vision, and the ability to turn something around. And I think that's a great story.
Well, you look at like Disney, which is also a previous episode that we had talked about on X Factor Destinations, which you can go back and look at. But if you look at Disney, I mean, Walt Disney was always told that he would never, like, nothing would ever really come of it. And then, I mean, he quite literally built a whole city, basically. And that was his vision. That was his goal.
Yep. He built the destination.
Yep.
Anyways, that's my story. I'm still a Patriots fan, despite I don't have a quarterback anymore, but we'll get somebody. Garoppolo's coming back from 49ers. I called it right here on this episode on March 7th, this recording. You watch it happen. Garoppolo's coming back. He always was going to be the backup to Brady, and he's coming back. So we'll see.
I heard somebody else was coming in.
Whatever, you ignore the news. You heard it right here. Garoppolo is the man. So we need a good looking quarterback. That's just our mantra. All right, yeah. Coach Brew, sports teams, sports franchises. What's on your plate today?
And I want to remind everybody, first of all, as you're listening to what I'm about to tell you, you're going to think these guys, like, they just prepare the show and come up with things that are remarkably similar on purpose by design so they can just hammer home whatever point they're trying to hammer home. And I assure you it's not the case. We do no show prep together. We just choose a topic. Like literally this morning, I texted, John texted us, the group text, and said, "Are we recording today?" I thought he was traveling. I didn't think we were recording today. Like, I thought you're out of town, but yeah, I'm available at 2:00. Okay, what do you want to talk about? And I just said X Factor sports franchises. He came up with whatever his was. I came up with whatever mine is. I just heard about his for the first time. He's about to hear about mine for the first time. And you're going to think, wow, those are really similar.
Interesting.
Because mine is an NBA team. And it starts with the vision of an owner. And it's a team that was, to say they were mired in mediocrity before he arrived would be an insult to mediocre teams everywhere in all sports. But I am going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks and their owner, Mark Cuban.
Yes.
Oh, he's
So
awesome.
Cuban bought the team in 2000. They were literally the losingest NBA franchise prior to his arrival. And he paid $280 million for that team. A lot of people think he way overpaid for that. But within 2 years, they became one of the best teams in the NBA. They were literally, they had a .281 winning percentage. And the first 2 seasons after Cuban took over, they went 110 and 54 combined.
Mm.
So just talk about quickly turning a loser into a winner. He did it not by cleaning house like most owners might do, but he did it by really investing in people and investing in, we talk about, customer service and the customer experience, customer journey, how you take the customers on a journey. He really focused on, this is a very unorthodox approach, but he really focused first on his internal customers, being your employees, your staff, specifically the players on your roster. Renovating the locker room to have, oversized lockers, luxurious amenities. When they traveled, he made sure they booked hotels that had oversized beds. Because if you're a 7 foot tall center or a 6'7" forward, you don't fit in a regular hotel bed at the DoubleTree. So he made sure they had long enough beds for the players. He did something that I thought was really interesting. I talk about it a lot. Are you crazy or are you crazy like a fox when it comes to leaders? And Cuban's crazy like a fox. What he would do, because he realized a great way to build a successful team is through free agency. Like you're trying to win the lottery with, draft picks. And usually you have to suck really bad to get a great draft pick. And the goal is to each year not suck really bad. Like the goal is to win.
Right.
So he had to focus on free agency. So what he did, unlike most teams, he made the visiting team locker room luxurious. Like beautiful oversized lockers, comfortable chairs. But here's the kicker, and it's a little thing, but little things make a big difference. Little things win big games. He had these very plush, like super high thread count, soft towels that he gave to the visiting team. They were so nice, and they had the Dallas Mavericks logo on them, and they were in Dallas team colors. They were so nice. Most of the visiting players stole the towel when they left. It became their favorite towel. They take it home with them. He didn't mind. He viewed it as marketing. He viewed it as a free infomercial for the Dallas Mavericks franchise. And really, the specific thing was, if these are the visiting team towels, like the visiting players are probably thinking, if these are the visiting team towels, I wonder how nice the Dallas Maverick players' towels are.
Yeah.
These are way better than our shitty towels we have with our franchise.
Right.
This owner's invested. If this is how he treats visitors, imagine how he treats his employees. There's a little thing.
Yeah. What year did he buy the team?
1990.
1990.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So it says from December 2001 to 2017 season, the Mavericks sold out 704 consecutive games.
And you want to know why? He focuses also on his external customers,
the fans,
and their experience in the building. Specifically, when he took over in 2000, and he's got a reputation for being a very hands-on owner.
Right.
And typically hands-on owners don't win. Hands-on owners are a pain in the ass. And they meddle in things they shouldn't meddle with. Talking to you, Jerry Jones, talking to you, Daniel Snyder. But what he did was he literally put his email address on the Jumbotron during games. This is Mark Cuban. I'm the owner of the team. I would like to hear how your experience in the arena was tonight. If you have any complaints, suggestions, feedback of any kind, I want to hear from you. This is my personal email address. You ready? Mark.Cuban@DallasMavs.com. That's legitimately his email address. He put it on the Jumbotron for thousands, for everyone watching on TV when the Jumbotron's on the television screen. They could email him. And what happened was he got legitimate suggestions that improved not just the experience for the fans, but the experience for the players and the coaches. So, for example, shot clocks used to be one dimensional and were just like essentially a continuation of the backboard.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be directly in front of it, forward facing to see how much time was on the shot clock, which meant like you had to be at one end of the court or the other in the stands to be able to see how much time's on the shot clock. A fan emailed in, said it'd be nice if you had a 4-sided shot clock. So no matter where you are in the venue, you knew how much time was left in the play. There's no such thing as a 4-sided shot clock. Mark Cuban went out and sourced, found an engineer like you, a computer programmer, whoever, a rocket surgeon. He went out and found somebody to make the first 4-sided shot clock. Guess what's attached to every NBA backboard in America today? A 4-sided shot clock.
Yep.
It is all to improve the customer experience. That simple. But how many leaders would have the courage to say, here's my personal email address. I want to hear your complaint, Mr. or Mrs. Customer. Not many. But if you're willing to take that feedback and do something with it, that's where the seeds of greatness are sown, I believe.
One of the kind of interesting facts that I was reading about is it says here that he also was the only entrepreneur and the first owner of any sports franchise to implement a sports blog detailing his own thoughts and ideas surrounding the NBA, which has remained successful to this day.
Yep, Blog Maverick, it's called. He also has an app for that. He just gets it on another level, I subscribe to his blog. He's not a real consistent blogger today, but it's always really interesting insights, sort of relating the sports world to the business world. But usually it's a recipe for destruction when you have a really involved owner. Steinbrenner, took over a good Yankees team in the 70s and ran it into the ground. And it wasn't until he stopped firing people left and right that they got good again. Daniel Snyder, Jerry Jones with the Cowboys. I mean, it's really interesting. If you're hands-on, you take the right approach. It's not about you. It's about your people. When I say your people, your employees and also the people that pay your salary, who are your customers, your ticket holders, then you got something. You have to be willing to listen and implement. John, we talk about it all the time, that suggestion, the employee anonymous suggestion box. What's usually running? It's mounted to the wall in a lot of offices. What's usually right underneath that? Paper shredder.
Essentially.
It's bottomless. It just falls right through the suggestion box into the shredder. Yeah, nobody.
I've found that the leaders that typically put those up are the ones that really don't want the ideas, right? It's the ones that are, well, we do care about your opinion. Here's a little box on the wall that you could put it in. Those are not the typical bosses that are listening to the ideas of their people, right? It's the ones that are actually out of their office and spending time with them that know what's going on with their people.
Or if they're in their office, the door's open for someone to come in and talk to them, and they'll actually listen. Exactly. They'll close their laptop. They'll put their phone away and they'll sit down and listen. I disagree with Mark Cuban on a lot of things, but when it's his approach to leading a team and an organization, I agree wholeheartedly with the guy, and it's impressive what he's done. And it might seem like a little thing to some people. I'll go back to those towels. Those towels are amazing.
Yeah, I like that.
It's feeling. A walking billboard, and it's buzz. It's guerrilla marketing. You know,
I love it when they say, if this is what we have, imagine what what their team has,
right.
what the home team has, you know.
And you think about like companies that just skimp on stuff.
Yeah.
Like they buy generic coffee for the break room that sucks when they could buy bottom gun coffee.
Right. Or 1-ply toilet paper when they could buy 4-ply.
Or, you know, they're too cheap to have a water cooler and they just tell their employees to get the water out of the sink, you know?
Yeah, no, that's not cool. We have a water cooler at work. And
Simple
we have
stuff like that goes a long
4-ply
way.
toilet paper because we care.
Wow.
We care.
And, you know, we joke around about this, but if you think about it, like caring oftentimes there's zero cost to it.
Yeah.
4-ply does cost more than 1-ply. You know, good coffee costs more than bad coffee. But listening doesn't cost you anything to listen to people.
Nope.
Doesn't cost you anything to walk around and check in on people. It doesn't cost you anything to help them. Walk into their office and help them. It doesn't cost you anything to sit in the stands with your fans, to wait in line with the customers who are waiting in line to get into your building. Cuban would sit in the stands. He wouldn't sit in the owner's box. He wouldn't sit, you know, now like you'll see him, you know, one row behind the bench sometimes, but he used to sit up in the just the average Joe's kind of stands where, you know, the average Joe gets a ticket, and he would listen to people.
Yep.
So how are you listening to either the people you lead or the people who are buying from you?
Yeah, I love it. There's more wisdom in the break room than there is in the boardroom. If you're running a company, get out and spend time with your people, with your fans, with your customers, with your employees.
It's that simple. And have plush towels. That's my best advice.
Plush towels. I love it. I want infinite thread count. I want it from the region of Giza region of Egypt. I want that, only that cotton.
Egyptian cotton. Do you think that what do you so seriously, John, what do you think is the thread count of those of the sheets and the strips of cloth that they mummified the Egyptians with when they put them in the tombs? Do you think they just gave them the cheap crap, or do you think they used like really high thread count Egyptian cotton when they mummified people?
I think it was
like King Tut. What was he mummified with?
probably with like 3 count. I mean,
Like paper towels.
You were hand weaving this stuff back in the day. They didn't have a electronic weaving machines like we have today. Yeah, we're spoiled today. They probably had 10 thread count. You could see through it. It was like cheesecloth.
Walk your talk, Egypt. Come on now.
Come on now.
So yeah, there you have it, and there it is.
There's so many parallels between the Patriots and the Mavericks. I think it's a great story. I think the idea is like, you know, business owners run the business and then let the hire good people to let them run the team. You know, let them coach the team and don't interfere with the running of the team. I think you see that with some of the meddling owners, the ones that try to work on who the quarterback's going to be, who the coach is going to be. They meddle in every little aspect of the game and nothing ever gets done. You know, I always say, like, hire really good people and then get out of the way. You know, let them do what they're good at. And I think that at least I've seen with Kraft, he lets Belichick, you know, lead and let him do his job, and he doesn't interfere.
And do the little things that protect your asset. Your assets, your greatest asset in every organization is your people. One thing I forgot to mention is guess what kind of chairs are in the Dallas Mavericks players' locker rooms? Guess what kind of chairs, John?
Oh, guess what kind? I have no idea. I don't know.
Robert Kraft would freaking love these.
Okay.
They're massage chairs.
That's awesome.
They have massage chairs in their locker room.
Nice.
Think about that. Like what a nice touch that is.
Yeah. Know? Wow. You know, we ought to get one in the Coach Brew headquarters there. Some massage chair.
Fun fact, I have a massage chair
in your office.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know what to say after that. That's X Factor right there.
It really is. Yeah.
I love it. The Mavericks,
Good
the
stuff.
Patriots,
Yep.
world class
X Factor sports
Yep.
franchises. Success leaves clues, people. You can learn from them and do what they do. And if you're sitting here listening to us and you're still awake or you haven't turned this off yet, number one, God bless you. Number two, if you're wondering, scratching your head and the gears are turning in there, you hear that hamster on the wheel spinning, and you're thinking, well, where do I start first with this? Quit giving your employees shitty coffee.
That's it. Right there.
Square one. Give them something good to drink.
Yep.
The link, the sponsor link to Bottom Gun Coffee is in the show description.
Yep.
Go there. Great jumping off point. And like part of me is like, this is shameless promotion of one of our sponsors. But the other part of me is legitimately telling you it's a little thing that makes a big difference. Everybody loves coffee or tea. Have something good for them to drink.
Yep. That simple.
Yeah. Have a water cooler. What helps make good coffee? Quality water.
Yep.
What makes happy employees productive? Being well hydrated. John?
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
Yeah, he would tell you spring for the expensive pre-workout in the break room. Don't buy cheap protein powder. I'm a little bit more of a realist. I don't think most people are drinking pre-workout at work. It's called pre-workout. It's not called pre-work.
It does work.
Yeah.
As a
and
motivator.
in the end, everything works out. So that's what we have for you today. That has been the X Factor sports franchises. And if you've enjoyed this, and this is your first time listening to the show or watching the show on our YouTube channel, go ahead and touch our buttons and jingle our bells, the subscription button and the little notification bell. Get your mind out of the gutter. I wasn't talking about those buttons and bells. Okay. So go ahead and do that and share it up.
Yes.
We don't charge you anything for this podcast. And what we just gave you was, management consulting, leadership training gold in terms of strategy. You could have charged you a small fortune for that intel. So your way of giving back to the world and making the world a better place and having less lousy leaders out there is simply to pay it forward and share this podcast with someone you know. Say, hey, you suck as a leader. You're lousy. Your people hate you. This podcast, if you listen to this particular episode, your people will hate you less. They might go from despising you to just disliking you. So listen to this and heed their wisdom. Or maybe if you want to take a little bit more of a gentle approach, these guys are a lot of fun. They're also really informative. Bob, I wanted to share this with you. Everybody knows a Bob. Send it to a Bob. I wanted to share this with you, Bob, because it's really pretty entertaining and educational. And you could take a couple of gems from this and make your already really good company that much better. You're welcome, Bob.
Yep.
Well, that was sexist, Brew. What if it's a female listener and she is a female colleague? All right, Karen. Send it to Karen or Brenda.
Yes.
Brenda would like it too.
Yep.
My point being, share it up. You're welcome. John, closing thoughts. Take us home. Take us out of here. You're like the cleanup pitcher, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, full count, bases loaded.
I'm going to throw a fastball here. Pay attention to this lessons here. This is not only good for your employees, it's good for your business. It's good for your bottom line. I don't think that Robert Kraft is a poor man. I don't think that the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, I don't think he's a poor man, right? It's been good for their business. It's good for themselves personally. So these are good lessons. Have happy employees and be happy to your bottom line as well. So take care of your people. They'll take care of your business. And that's it on the X Factor podcast. So like, share, review, and join us as a P1 listener.
And if you're a real overachiever, in the show description, you can go to my website and JR's website, sign up for our newsletters. If you're really smart and savvy, which, we're setting the bar up here like really high because we know that, losers don't listen to this show. This is a show for winners. It's about why winners win. So you must be a winner if you're listening to this. You can sign up for our newsletters. We both have fabulous books.
Yes.
His are better than mine. You know why his are better than mine? I wrote the forward to one of his.
That is true. But this is a good
what's
book.
true? That yours are better than mine, or it's true that I wrote the forward to one of yours?
It's true that you wrote the forward, and I would say that your books are phenomenal, and there's a lot of them. You are a prolific author, and this is your latest, and I love it. Actually, I have another one as well too. Move Forward, which I don't have in front of me.
Yes, sir.
You've got 2 new books, which is exciting.
So invest in yourself. Check out our websites, and have yourself a fabulous day.
Absolutely.
I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Good night now. Even if it's morning, good night.
Yes.
Now.
Good night.
Wait a minute.
What?
You're still here. Why are you still here? I said good night. We said goodbye. We told you where to go. Push the buttons. Check out our website. Buy stuff from us. We need the money. We have kids we're putting through college. Come on now. But you're still here.
Bye.
We'll see you. Bye. This is really goodbye this time. We're gonna get up and we're gonna walk away from the camera. I mean, I'm even gonna turn the lights off in my office now. So this is goodbye.
Bye.
Go to the website.